Greetings, it's Ian from RTO and welcome to Retro Ranking. Today is a very special one because it's a tribute to a fine guitarist who sadly passed away. Well, they announced his death on the 20th of January, and that is John Sykes. It took me a little while to get this because I had to go back and re-listen to some of his solo albums, to the fact that we will do a ranking of John Sykes' solo stuff at some stage. Brilliant stuff. Born on the 29th of July 1959 in Reading, and he spent 3 years living in Ibiza, where John's father and uncle owned a discotheque, so he's been involved in music in some way. At 14, he took an interest in the guitar when his uncle showed him how to play some of Eric Clapton's licks. The rest is history, really. Worked with some interesting people. He played bass guitar with Diamond Head at some stage, Samson, FM, but was best known for being in Thin Lizzy, Tigers of Pantang, Whitesnake, and his own band, of course, Blue Murder. There was they announced his death in January 2025, but social media said that he had died from cancer. We knew that he had been ill, and but he died they reckon he died in December at the age of 65, so we don't quite sure, but I had to do something. So here are 10 songs that I really like that John played on. Some of it's his solo, some of it's with some of the bands. So here we go. Coming in at number 10. Now this comes from 1997 off one of his solo albums called Love Land, and it's a really nice ballad called Haunted. Now, John, one thing he could write is a damn good ballad. And if it's done right, it's wonderful. This is. His vocal on it, he was a great singer. He's stunning. And he's got such a really nice solo, well-structured song. Now, I'm not one keen on rock ballads, but this one is absolutely stunning. Great track. Okay, coming in at number 9. We're going to 1987 now, to the Eponymous album Whitesnake, and a track on there called Give Me All Your Love Tonight. One of my favourites off this album. It's a real great riff from John, and his solo is just mesmerising. It's a shame this lineup didn't go out and tour, because I think it would have been a lot better to hear them songs off the Whitesnake album done with John. But John and David had a great fallout before it all started. They did do a re-recording of this and put a Vivian Campbell guitar solo on it. Not as good. Okay, coming in at number 8, we're going to my 1989 now, and to the Blue Murder album, the debut album from Blue Murder, and it's the lovely Jelly Roll. I just love this song. I think it's that acoustic guitar, and then that you get that, and you got that wonderful fretless bass from Tony Franklin, and you got the brilliant Carmina piece on it as well. It's a terrific track. One of the sort of different tracks on that album. Brilliant band. Pity it didn't last long. Coming in at number 7 then, we go back to 1983, and when he was in Thin Lizzy, and it's the title track from the album Thunder and Lightning. It's a classic. For a start, you got that phenomenal bass and Mr. Liner, but it's that riff. And I mean, Scott Gorham, you know his stuff, but you know a John Sykes riff. I mean, I think John and Scott worked really well together. They were both powerful players. It's just a manic track off that album. Love it to bits. Okay, number 6, going back even further in time now, 1989, when he with his tentature with Tigers of Pang Tang, and off the Spellbound album, Silver and Gold. What a track, killer. It's one of my favourite tracks by Tigers of Pang Tang. It's just that opening riff, it just rocks. You know, I like how John just announced on a track, I'm here and I've got this riff. Bang! Okay, going back to 1985 now, in the middle of the overproduced rock. But John brought out an album called Out of My Tree, and there's a track on here called Soul Stealer. None of this smoothness, it's just pure rock and riffs and licks and a great vocal, some great little vocal bits on it as well. He just absolutely kills it. Great solo on that. Love that track. Okay, number 4. We're going back to Tigers of Pang Tang and the Crazy Nights album for Love Don't Stay. Another classic. That opening riff just blows you away. From John. Brilliant stuff. Number 3. Back to 1989 and the Blue Murder. And my favourite track off this album. Valley of the Kings. Apart from Carmine's brilliant drumming. It's got a little bit of keyboard in it. It's quite eerie. And I think this is one of the best vocals John ever sang on. It's terrific. It's got atmosphere. And Tony Franklin's bass is cool on it as well. Number 2. Back to 1987 and to the Whitesnake opening. That opening album track. Now, and it was the first single, Still of the Night. We hadn't heard anything from Whitesnake for a few years. We wondered if they were still... And they played this on the Friday Rock Show. Tommy Vance says, here's the new single from Whitesnake. Now, at the time, I was a weekend away. And we all went back to the room and we listened to this. And because we knew he was going to play it. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. It's still my favourite song of what I call this era of Whitesnake. It's just an amazing solo. No one's ever played it properly. Now John, luckily John's played this on his show, on his solo shows and that, and even live he captures that solo. The only man that played it right in my books. Absolutely killer track. Okay, coming in at number 1 though, again back to 1983. First time I heard this was on Top of the Pops, and it's Thin Lizzy's from the Thunder and Lightning album, Cold Sweat. Wow, brilliant track. That opening lick from John's fantastic. Scott joins in and it makes it it's a heavy riff. Cold sweat running down the back of my neck and all that. It's just killer. Best the best track he ever did with Thin Lizzy. Top draw material. It's one of my favourite Thin Lizzy songs ever. So there we go. There's my top 10. I have got a few honourable mentions. So the first one is probably one of these two of some of the last tracks I think he ever put down. The first one's from 1997 and it's from the 20th Century album and it's called Defcon 1. This has got killer riffs, it's got licks, it's got shredding, it's got everything that you expect a talented guitar player to do, and it is absolutely fantastic. Okay, the next one again is from one of his solo albums, Nuclear Cowboy, from the year 2000, and it's one way system. Absolutely brilliant. The shredding on this is fantastic, powerful. A great vocal from John as well. Was a great singer. Doesn't get too much mention, and I think it's probably one of the best tracks off Nuclear Cowboy. And my last one is from 1993, and it goes back to Blue Murder and their second album, Nothing But Trouble. Didn't get the same accolade as Blue Murder, but it's still an excellent album, and it's one of my favourite tracks off there. Love Child, killer riffs, best vocal from John on here. I think the thing why it is because it hasn't got Carmine on it or Tony Franklin, they'd gone, but it's a powerful track, absolutely killer track. So there we go. That's me remembering John Sykes. Fine guitar player. Bit of a moody bloke. Very hard to work with apparently. But still, he left us with some great songs. And as I said, later in the year we will do a John Sykes solo album ranking. Okay, that's all for today. Tomorrow is Ladies' Day because we've got a lady that has released more than 13 albums, and it's the talented Miss Kim Wilde. So join us for that. Bye for now.